Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mahavidvishavahaihi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So we did verse 6. English translation is, a wise man, knowing well the separateness of the existence of senses and their appearance and disappearance to be other than the self, grieves no more for them. So final goal is that person doesn't grieve. Great, absolutely great. Same thing what Krishna Bhagavan was talking about. So here basically what he's saying is that the man who knows the difference between Atma and the Indriyas, or the objects of the Indriyas. So because the logic was given that the sense organs rise and fall, they keep changing. So that cannot be permanent. But that Atma Tattva is free from that. Any kind of, and we were discussing that in our meditation chapter also, the same concept. So the wise men realizing this, they do not grieve. And it was like matva dhiro na shochati, grieve over anything. So main thing is that self should always be recognized as our own self, just like exactly what the meditation chapter was telling you that, but he's saying that it should be not something different. But the problem that we have is we have been told this many times, but our mind still goes as though Atma is an object. That is our difficulty. We are seeking it somewhere outside. What is it? I want to know. How to bring it to our this personal journey. That's where this next verse is going to help us to do that. So because it should be known as a subject within me. So how do I get there? Remember when we were doing this Kathoupanishad, they told you that we are taking this journey, but the journey is not outside. When we give example of a car, okay, I'm going from California to New York, it's some physical thing outside. No, this is a journey within. That's the whole difference between this subjective journey. So what do I have to do? I have to withdraw my mind. That's what Krishna Bhagavan also says. Withdraw your mind and establish in the self. So how do I do that? That's where it's going to help us. So the whole idea is again to recognize self as my own inner self. So पहले उन्होंने बोला different verses में Kathoupanishad में that, wait a minute, let me do the verse now. It's saying there are two verses together, but I'm going to only do one today. I'm going to do verse 7 and 8 we'll do next time. So verse 7 is Indriyebhya paramanaha manasa sattvam sattvadadhi mahanatma mahato avyaktamuttamam. Indriyebhya, then the senses, means usse jada. Paramam, beyond that. Manaha, the mind. So which the mind is beyond the indriyas, we know that. Manasaha. Then the mind, what is higher than the mind? Sattvam, the intellect. And we'll see why they called it Sattvam here. Uttamam is superior or better. Adhi is beyond. So there's another word when we say transcending. Sattvat, then the intellect. Mahanatma. Mahanatma is a great Atman. It's called Hiranyagarbha also. There are many different names. Means the whole aggregate together. Macrocosm, microcosm. This is a macrocosm of the mind. Mahataha, the great Atman. Avyakta. Avyakta is Prakriti bhi bolte hain. Okay? The unmanifested. So manifested means that comes on, what with the senses I can grasp it is called manifested. And there are a lot of things I cannot grasp by sense. It's called unmanifest, but it's there. Uttamam is superior. So basically this whole idea was already mentioned earlier. Bhagavad Gita also there is a verse exactly similar that we have already done. But anyway, we'll bring all those things back and what exactly they're saying in this verse, we'll see it too. So earlier also the same thing was mentioned But थोड़ा सा डिफरेंस है, बिकॉज अर्लियर उन्होंने बोला था कि सेंस ऑर्गन्स हैं और ऑब्जेक्ट्स आर द एलिमेंट्स आर सटलर देन द सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट्स, ऐसा बोला था, बिकॉज the sense objects come from the elements. That's why it was said like that. More, the sense objects are more pervasive at elemental level. So now they are saying that this, they don't mention it like that over here, just indriya bhiya khali bola hai, but we have to take it together, sense and sense objects. Usse zyada superior hai mind. That's what they are telling over here. So we know the functions of, sense object. And we already know that each one knows only one, right? It cannot. And then, but mind knows them all. So हो गया कि नहीं mind superior? Because अगर आंखें सिर्फ देखती है और ये कर, लेकिन mind में सारा information आता है, mind grasps everything, whether it's hearing or it's seeing or touching or smelling. So mind is superior. So when we say superior, Tejamanand ji kind of pointed out, you have to also think inner, more subtler, deeper inside. Don't look at it as an object, but within yourself, mind is the interior. And we know about mind. Indriya to hum log dekh sakte hain. If I stand in the mirror, I can see my ear and eyes, and I cannot see internally everything, but X-ray se to aajkal wo bhi dikh jata hai, wo MRI वगैरह से. Okay? Mind, nobody can see. I mean, yes, brain, but the scientists and the brain. Brain is not the mind, for God's sake. It is just an instrument that projects the mind. That's all it is. But I don't know. I don't argue with those guys. They can drive you crazy. So, but we know that from Vedanta, what we have learned about mind is, because mind is the one that travels in the next life also. But no, but we can't see it. So it is more subtle. It's interior, but we know we have a mind. Better know we have a mind. So, and then he's saying higher than mind is, the word is used sattvam. So sattvam word is used for buddhi over here. And there is a reason, because sattva means purity. Okay. So when they talk about this prakriti has 3 gunas, and the whole cosmos has come with the mixture of the 3 gunas. Is manifested because of the mixture of the 3 gunas. So the buddhi comes from the sattva guna. That's why it's called sattva. Okay, and also buddhi mein na gyan buddhi mein aata hai. So your faculty of knowing comes as a sattva guna, as a buddhi from the element. So that's why it's mentioned over here. Sattva means buddhi here. So it's referring to the buddhi. The mind is higher than the senses, and the buddhi or intellect is higher than the mind. Again, he is reminded, higher means more interior, and even senses we know outwards, right? Mind can go inward also. Sense to uska job hi outward hai, So that's why mind is more interior. Okay? And then there's another word used which means dadhi, means it is beyond. Beyond means it transcends. There are several ways you can look at it. Higher bolo, beyond bolo. Buddhi is something, if your buddhi is the master, mind is just below it. Mind cannot influence the buddhi then anymore. Like that. We can look at it many different ways, what they are trying to say. It has a more authority. Higher. And then individual buddhi se higher kya hai? Mahan Atma. What is Mahan Atma? We have seen before, and then if you go back, reverse it, then the Chaitanya Brahma working through the Prakriti is called Avyakta first. Because I'm going to there's another verse over there. I've made a note over here somewhere. Which verse was it? I think it's verse 10 of Valli 3. So, where we learned that this pure Brahman, uska power is Prakriti, usko avyakt bola hai, unmanifest. And from that comes, they call it Ishvara, or it manifests, and it manifests in a way that it becomes Hiranya Garbha, Mahanatma. Okay? It's a totality of all minds. And then comes that cosmos, and that's called Virat Roop. When we do Bhagavad Gita is going to come in chapter 11, Virat Roop, that means it's a physical manifestation of the Hiranya Garbha. It calls Virat, cosmic being. That's the English name for it. So she's saying that he was trying to analyze what this word Hiranya Garbha is. Very interesting. Garbha, everybody knows, womb, right? Hiranya means gold, actually. सुनने में लगता है कि as though it is like some kind of deer or something. No. Hiranya, Sanskrit word, is gold. And why they are saying gold stands for the entire material world. It's called gold. Because, it just more, gold is something that is the highest among all the elements, in a sense. It doesn't rust and things like that. So when you say Hiranya Garbha means something that comes out of there. So first you have in unmanifested form, then it becomes Hiranya Garbha, and from there the world manifests. वहाँ से निकला है सब कुछ, इसके लिए उसको गर्भ बोला गया. I thought that was very kind of interesting. And then another point he said about Hiranya, why they call it Hiranya, because gold shines, and that shining is indicative of knowledge, because that all the manifestation happens because of all the knowledge and all that. So that's why. So there is a whole science behind why they named it like that. That was a very good point. And then Hiranya Garbha also has one more, you can call it quality to indicate it, that it is omniscient. Sarvagnya, they call it, like all-knowing. When we say God is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, so that all-knowing, omniscient is the word for Hiranyagarbha. That's why it becomes the karma phaladata. It's, okay, we do the karmas, the phala comes from there because it's all-knowing. It knows all the whole implication of our karma, what we do. That's why it gives you that karma phala. I may not like it, but that's the appropriate phala that I get. So now he's saying that basically what it is that same Chaitanya functioning through the total mind has become Hiranyagarbha. Identifying with the total mind. So, and then he gave one more meaning of the word Virat. In Sanskrit it means the one that shines in many ways, because it has so many different forms in the Virat Roop. Everything encompasses. If you see, when we come to that chapter 11, it's chapter 10 and 11, very poetic it is. Very, very poetic in Bhagavad Gita. It's one of my favorite chapters, because it has, the way it described is so beautiful, because it has so many different things are described. All together is called Virat. That's another meaning of Virat. And then Tejomananji reminded again, remember, Sachidanand Brahman only got all these names. So when we talk about Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha, Virata, Purush, all of that, it's the same Chaitanya, but it's had different identities now. That's why it has become like that. So that's what we have to remember. So in this particular verse, basic idea is that Indriya, mind, and Sattva is like Buddhi and total mind, and then Avyakta, it's telling you the hierarchy. That the way I mentioned it. And the way he was explaining the unmanifest and manifest, I just already discussed it, but one more point, maybe it'll make it more clear, that anything that manifests in the gross world, means in the physical world, has to exist in the subtle world first. Otherwise it cannot. It's something like, if I want to do an action, it always starts with a thought. If I don't have a thought, I will not be able to do that action. It's the same thing. Already it is there in my subtle body, and then it comes out as an action. So that's what we have to remember. And then I think I already discussed that subtle means it's not available for our sense perception yet. So that's what is mentioned in this particular verse. And then I'm going to do the other one next time, and we'll read next time. So I'm going to just, since, we did so much, I don't want to overload, So we will do that next time. Any question on this whole hierarchy thing? It's an inward journey he's telling us to take through this. So I think that even in meditation, this can be very useful.
The last part, would you call that as God? Because God created it. So I think somewhere...
Which one? Sorry, what's your question?
The last, when it goes to unmanifested state and God created it, we say God
So, see, when we use the word God, in Vedanta, there are very technical words now. There is Brahman, there is Hiranyagarbha, there is Virat, all those, right? But it depends on what stage you're talking about. When the word God has become so loose, so it's like even koi deity hoega, usko bhi God bolenge,
Yeah, the Brahman is beyond God.
Yes, so at the purest level is Brahman. And then when it comes to that Hiranyagarbha state, that Mahan Atma, that's where it becomes like Karma Phaladata and all those kind of things. True.
That's when we call God.
Yeah, that's what we call God, exactly. And that's where all the three jobs of the God start coming, manifesting after that. It's like Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Creation, maintenance. But what one of them made a good point, I remember one of the lectures, one of the Swami said, see, if we cannot relate to Brahman yet, it's okay to relate to Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh and pray to them. They are still higher, and they are manifestation of that Brahman only.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, but as we learn Vedanta, that's why Krishna Bhagavan, when he said me, he doesn't mean at any level, a body level or Brahma, Vishnu. He's taking straight you to that Atma level, self.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, the self.
Yeah. And God also, I think I've discussed it in the class before, that the word God, how did it come about? You guys remember? It's generator, operator, destroyer, G-O-D.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, that's how where did the word God come from? Because like when we say Bhagwan, that has a other Sanskrit meaning. There are 2-3 different meanings floating around, but the real meaning is that the Bhaga means, 6 different things the one has, all opulence, all glory, this like that. I don't know exact those Sanskrit things. There are 6 things somebody has, usko Bhagwan bolte hain. And then किसी ने internet में डाला था कि all the 5 elements and mind together is Bhagwan, bha se ye or ga se gagan or something ऐसे कुछ करके डाला. So many different, but this God ka was very interesting, that even the Western world have that concept of Trinity or whatever you call it. 3 different functions are happening in the world anyway.
Yeah. All the time.
Yeah, all the time they're happening. And then even that is very scientific, that to create you need knowledge. So Brahmaji's consort is, Saraswati Devi, it's a knowledge, Devi of knowledge. To maintain you need money. So it's Lakshmi Devi. And then for destruction you need Shakti.
Yes.
So her consort is Shakti. Shiva,
The consort is really like the power of them. It's a power. It's a power.
Yeah, you can call it power, but see how scientifically they have done it. Our Rishi Munis, how they have personified it. That, hey, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Shakti also at different levels, you need different. Ghar mein you cannot become like a Kali Ma, because there will be, then you'll be like a Parvati, more mild. And then when you get a little angry, then you become Durga.
All at once.
Then or you can look at it, hey, if I have to destroy the 6 sharks of my mind, I got to become Durga now, to destroy the negativity in me. And then comes the knowledge after that. Because that whole Navaratri, we did the symbolism in Chinmaya Mission, and our 10th graders does it. So I know that so well. We don't even know that. The 9 din hote hain na? तो उसमें से 3 दिन पहले दुर्गा जी की पूजा होती है. फिर लक्ष्मी जी की होती है 3 दिन. फिर सरस्वती की होती है. Then you conquer your mind, merge with the self, and that's the celebration of peace, the Vijayadashmi. They call it, I've conquered it. Imagine the symbolism. And the reason you start with Durga is because it creates, it destroys negativity. And they call it the वो buffalo demon है ना एक वो महिषासुर को उसने मारा. Mahishasur is nothing but, in our laziness in us. It's a tamogun. That you destroy the tamogun, and then Lakshmi Devi is Devi of wealth, but wealth of the good qualities. Not just the material. यहाँ पर इतना फोकस है इंडिया में material wealth. Even दिवाली के दिन they all do पूजा लक्ष्मी और धन धान्य मिले ये मिले. That's not the real meaning. Its real meaning is to get wealth, spiritual wealth also. Of course you need material wealth, but not everything. Spiritual wealth, and with that spiritual wealth, knowledge will come. Then Saraswati Devi comes in you. Because she gave.
But it's so well. Tamoguna, Rajoguna, Sattwaguna. It comes in. Ignorance is removed first.
Yeah.
And then the activity will bring that.
Yes.
Then the activity. And after the activity is Sattwaguna.
Right.
It is so light out that way.
And then also, I learned, in Chinmaya Mission only that, in Gujarat, I know that, who is Gujarati over here in our group? Today we don't have any Gujarati. There was, but she left. They do Garba, right?
Yeah.
Even the word Garba kahan se aaya? Word Garbha se aaya. And they have a little pot जिसमें holes, and they usually traditional part होता है 9 holes होते हैं. It represents the body, and then they put a diya underneath. It represents consciousness, Brahman. Coming through the 9 holes and, eliminating the world and becoming this Virat Roop and all that. All that is included in that little pot over there. We didn't know that, right?
Yeah.
And they dance around that Garba because the dance of joy. I got the knowledge now. That's the whole symbolism.
Beautiful.
Yeah, everybody is forgetting the symbolism of all festivals.
All festivals. I was telling my boys also. They were talking about Christmas. I have to do. I said, nobody even remembers that it was Jesus' birthday. If you want to celebrate Christmas, first go and learn about Jesus. Go attend a mass in a church or something, and then instead of just, I have to give gift, I have to do this party, I have to do this. It's just disaster, absolutely, if you ask me. Because just like, what Sneha is saying, that people have lost it completely. Even this Diwali, they made it into such a mess. People get more tension now. I have to give this gift, I have to do this, I have to buy new clothes, I have to buy this bartan. Nowhere it says that you have to buy a bartan. I don't know where it came from.
सबसे surprising thing is on Diwali, लोग जुआ खेलते हैं.
Oh my God, disaster after knowing what happened in Mahabharata. I don't know if you guys voted yesterday. So there were some propositions were there, and some of them I don't understand. Our son was explaining to me.
Do you want to close the class before we talk about
Yes,
all that?
true. Yes, let's close. Thank you. Okay. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha.